Good morning from not very sunny Cambridgeshire in England. Now today, for spiritualists everywhere, is a commemoration of the beginning, the advent of modern spiritualism. And it all began in what was reputed to be a haunted house out in the United States of America in 1848. And it happened in a little cottage in Hydesville, Rochester, New York State. And there it was that the bangings and noises that had disturbed people for a long time came to fruition when the family that were there decided that they were going to play a game, two young women, and see if Mr. Splitfoot, as they called the noises, would answer them. And he did. And it turned out, by a series of raps that spelled out the alphabet, they found out his name, what had happened to him. He'd been murdered there and been buried in the cellar along with his tin box. He was a peddler. And that was after actually excavated and found some years later. But nevertheless, it proved the veracity of the communication that they received. And basically, all the neighbours were assembled to listen to all of this. And as we know, people went home to their own homes and decided they would see if they could speak to somebody who wasn't there. And this all resulted in the new movement of spiritualism, modern spiritualism, coming to life. And it came here to England in 1852 with another woman who was a good medium, who was called Mrs. Hayden, but she later became Dr. Hayden, happy to say. And a newspaper was set up, a church was set up. A lady called Emma Harding was sent out to America. She was a musical artist, opera singer, dancer. She was also a good journalist, and she was sent by a paper out in the States to investigate as a skeptic. And she was converted, of course, and she became very famous. Came back here to her native England and crusaded for spiritualism after having helped Abraham Lincoln through her oratory through the Civil War, on the side of the Union, of course. Now, when I was the editor of Psychic News, which is an old established newspaper here in England, in 1932 by Maurice Barbanel, who was also a medium, I created a magazine called Hydesville Day Magazine, and that went down very well, and it publicised the fact that we did have a day to celebrate specially as spiritualists. And so it's very good that I can wish you a happy Hydesville Day. It may not seem the same to you as any other special day, but for spiritualists it's really important because it marks the beginning of a movement and a religious denomination that has grown and grown, and it is indeed worldwide, and especially here we enjoy that with freedom of expressing our beliefs after a long fight, because until 1951 we were prosecuted when the mood took them by the authorities as rogues and vagabonds, vagrants and fortune tellers, and pretending to conjure up the spirits of the dead. We could be thrown into prison, fined or whatever. Anyway, in 1951 that all changed with a statute on the books, Parliament, and it was called the Fraudulent Mediums Act, which presupposed, of course, that there were genuine mediums, and that meant we could all practice our religion safely. And the fact is that if you go against the common law of any country, you're entitled to be arrested. But we know who is genuine and who is not, and there is there is an upsurge of genuine mediumship amongst some of the other stuff that goes on, but then that's always gone on. So I just thought I'd go live with this in the ordinary way, sitting here in a corner of my living room with Doris Stokes there looking over my shoulder. Doris Stokes, of course, a famous medium, and she was challenged a few times in her life to be whether she was genuine or not, and of course she was genuine, and we know that because history proves her right. And I would just like to wish you the very best. I have some special books. One is written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and it's the history of spiritualism. And he turns his talents as a writer to recording those early happenings of the spiritualist movement, and particularly how it happened to start the modern spiritualist movement in America. And also I have a lovely book called Rogues and Vagabonds by Maurice Barbanel, because he was really angry, and he was in the forefront of petitioning the Home Secretary and everybody he could get hold of to actually change the law in our favour and repeal the Witchcraft Act, because that's how we were being prosecuted. And it was really awful for everybody then. So just grateful that we have the right and the abilities to actually spread the word of truth, that as Maurice Barbanel used to write as his masthead, there is no death. And we need to let people know that what we know, which is that, as Doris Stokes used to say, you can't die for the life of you. And there is continuous life. We are not devil worshippers or demon mongers or anything like that. We are just spiritualists. And there's all sorts of spiritualists, and I'm a Christian spiritualist. I'm quite happy about that. I was born a Jew, so when I was recorded in Psychic News, before I developed my religious views, I was described as a Jewish medium. Anybody can look that up in the annals of Psychic News, and that was a long time before I became editor. And there you are. So I see everybody's there. Tim, bless you, Tim, and you, Samantha, and Shlavka. Yes, well, I'm going to wave. I think it can press wave, and I can do a wave. I'm not terribly au fait with modern technology, as you can imagine by the wrinkles. But however, we try our best, and as my eldest son always said, you're very trying, Mum. So I wish you a very, very happy Hydesville Day. I hope that if you are able, that you can tune in to any spiritualist broadcasts that are being made at the moment on YouTube or here on Facebook. Lots and lots of good mediums are giving messages and chatting to people about spiritual matters, and I think that can only be a good thing. Well, this was longer, of course, than I expected to be chatting. I thought, I'll just do a couple of words, and I would like to say that there will be little services going on that we will broadcast, because I don't see why the established churches and Orthodox churches should have it all their own way. And I think that our message is worth broadcasting, and everybody who is involved in that, especially I must give a plug to my ministers, as I call them. They won't mind that, but the New Christian Spiritualist Society has been growing since 2011, so 2010, 2011. Very good, I think. And because we're a new religious movement, it gives room for all kinds of thinking and all shades of philosophy. Mostly, though, of course, we all agree that we all work towards love, light and truth. And I know that all the ministers of the NCSS are devoted to that, and that they come online and do their videos and have their little chats, and we all get together ourselves as a conversation, not always spiritual. Reverend Alan, are you there? Not always that spiritual, but we all love each other as we were directed to do, because we don't just love each other, we love everybody. Unconditional love is what it's all about. And if there is communication between the next world and this one, it's only on a love vibration. And it's a marvellous science, which has led to this philosophy. And at this time particularly, when the whole world needs hope and hourly, daily boost to morale, I believe that spiritualism can do that. At the moment, as you can see, I'm just in the corner of my living room, sitting at my old computer, and I do set up a little sacred space and hold a little service. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of days, and I hope that you're able to access that, because it just gives you a little bit of a boost. I know it gives me a boost whenever I'm doing that communication, because it makes you feel less alone, less worried, and only has benefit. So, Samantha, one of the best things to happen to our family. Oh, that's lovely, yes. Well, it really was the best thing that happened to me. And I just want to share that with everybody. So, not like a sort of religious maniac, but just because it's just such a beneficial aspect of our life, to know that life is continuous, that we have got a creator, that we can contact that wonderful greater world, and that all our loved ones are still all right. Well, they're very all right, and are able to make their presence felt to us, and in fact through the offices of a medium can communicate back with us, to us. It's just lovely. So I would like to say, oh, completely forgotten about Hydesville Day. Well, you might find it in the fridge. Oh, you might have put it somewhere else. No, I'm just joking. The fact is, when you get increasing earth years, you sometimes get a bit forgetful, and you know, it can be irritating to people and irritating to oneself. I always like to make light of some of life's most awful difficulties, but I'm glad that I've been able to remind you that it's Hydesville Day, because we need something to celebrate. And the other thing is this, that when we look back on our history as spiritualists and see all the rubbish that we've had to wade through to get this far, you know, one should only be happy about that, and know that we can bring joy and comfort and upliftment to millions of people. And as Jesus said, if they have ears to hear, let them hear. If they have eyes to see, let them see. Well, we understand he's talking about our spiritual ears and eyes, and let us open them, as the old hymn says, you know, open my eyes, let me see, open my ears and let me hear. There's another hymn that goes, oh, give me the ear of Samuel. Well, you know, Samuel was also a medium, as many people in the Bible were, of course. So I won't get into a preaching mode, and I'll just wish you lots of love and light, and I know that you'll walk in the truth, and all these things that are going on today will pass, and everything is going to get a lot better. And my friends upstairs assure me that they will always stand by and help us all. So there you are. And they do that because they're allowed to by God. So don't let anybody tell you that God is left out of it, because the Great Spirit is everywhere. So I'll say God bless you, And again, wish you a happy Hydesville Day. I haven't produced a magazine, of course, for a long time to celebrate that, but I know that it will be marked anyway, and even if it's by a special cup of tea and cake or something like that, that would be good, wouldn't it? I used to say it would be really nice if it got as popular as Christmas, and who knows, perhaps it will do. So I say God bless you, and I will put a little service on later on, just to help things along a bit, and do a bit of praying. So yes, I will stay safe, thank you, and all of you stay safe. Don't forget, stay home. No wandering about, hobnobbing with the neighbours or the person down the road or your family. You just have to keep them at arm's length. I mean, some of us, some of our families might be delighted that they can't come and visit us. Sorry, Mum, we can't come actually because we're not allowed to, which lets them off listening to all sorts of old stories being dragged up about their childhood and stuff like that, and then forgetting what you've said, and being told that, well, you told us that already. Oh, right, okay. Have you heard about what I did last week? Yes. So I'll say God bless you, and wish you well in this trying time. And I know that the spirits of those who began this modern spiritualist movement are with us all today. I'm sure they are with you as they are with me. And when you look at people like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he was not an idiot, and he was a great spokesperson for our movement. And Maurice Barbanel, another great pioneer, and there are so many, it would take all day to list them all. So I say happy Hydesville Day to you. Bye for now. Bye. Bye. Oh, and of course you can comment, I believe, afterwards or something. So please leave a comment. If it's insulting, I don't mind. I've been insulted by the best. And of course, to everybody, you don't just have to be a spiritualist to know that your friends and loved ones that have gone before you to the world of spirit are there helping you and looking after you. So there you are. Just remember that when you're feeling a bit down. God bless you all. Bye. Bye.